Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of Self Literacy Podcast. My name is Tabang, and I'll be your host. I really hope that this platform and its many contributions, myself and the guests that I'll have on the platform, will at the end of the day help you know yourself better. That being said, I'm not alone today. I'm with a couple of people, a couple of gents here, people that are in my life. So I thought, let me bring them to the platform. Let's chat relationships, let's chat faith, and let's chat self-development. I'm going to start with the guy next to me. Maybe just do an intro, tell the people who you are, and yeah.
Okay. I thought we were going to start from the other side. But
You want to start that side?
No, it's fine.
Whichever way is fine.
Okay, go for it.
No, he's fine. You can
Yeah,
go
I'm
first.
cool. I'm cool. My name is Chaba, a.k.a. Sech, a.k.a. Sech Medez. What else am I supposed to say again?
I don't know. Whatever
It's
you
your
want,
life story.
Whatever you want people to know about you.
Yeah.
I love
that's
this
it.
already.
That's pretty much me, man. Like, yeah, it's Chaba. Most
Sech
of it-
Medez.
Some people call me Sech, some people call me Medez, some people call me Sech Medez.
Some people call him Chance the Rapper. Does he not look like Chance?
He does. Now, not just thinking about it now, I actually do.
Yeah.
What up, Chance? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. Nah. Pleasure meeting you, brother.
Oh, yeah, bro. See
Oh,
you.
yeah,
go for it.
All right, so I am Ditebo Hoboshwa. I go by the name Heavy D. A lot of people call me Heavy D. Not because of the late American rapper Heavy D. Just because my name is Ditebo Hoboshwa. The funny thing is, in Lesotho, there's no D. So
Yeah.
it actually has to be Heavy L.
Heavy L, yeah.
But that sounds off. So we're going
I
to
know.
stick to Heavy D. Hey, yo, Heavy L.
Yeah,
Man.
Big
Nah,
L.
it's too long, huh?
Just imagine.
Bruh, it's not going to work.
Oh, Big L.
Yeah, Big L could actually work. No. We have something with Big L.
Nah.
No?
Nah.
Nah,
Big
nah.
loser.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
was thinking.
Big loser.
Definitely not Big L. No Big L's.
Yeah.
Away.
So definitely not.
Definitely no Big L.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me?
No, I'm grateful to be here, and I hope these conversations that we're going to be having here, they build more than they break.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to speak the truth. Like when you told me to come through, I was just like, I want to say something
100%.
for real. So I'm
And I
just
think
glad to be
we've
here.
been
brother.
wanting to do this.
Been.
I think for me, it's I've been in trial and error a lot, especially where podcasts are concerned. And I think I found the right one.
Lovely.
That's dope.
I think
Lovely.
I found the right one, and I thought it fitting to have you guys as the first people on the platform to chat all these things. That said, today we're going to be looking at the dating pool,
Okay.
and I actually want us to look at the angle of dating the boring guy and the boring girl, because somebody once said something that got me thinking that the boring guy and the boring girl actually become interesting when they get into marriage. So in a relationship, they might be boring, but once you get into marriage, it's like a different thing altogether. And I was like, wow, I actually want to explore this.
Well, yeah, it kind of makes sense because, hey, man, you're married. What are you looking for now?
100%.
You're going to have to make sure that boring person starts become interesting. You understand?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to, you, how do I say this? You learn each other in marriage. You get to experience each other. This is my experience, or this is my understanding of how it should go. I'm not a married man, but I should understand that, look, in marriage, we're not trying to learn each other. Now I know who you are, and I have my interests of who you are.
Yeah.
And those interests of who you are, now I have to make sure that I dig them. You know why? Because where else am I going to find these things?
Gotcha.
I have to find something I like, and I have to go with it. Otherwise, it's going to be divorce after divorce after divorce because I'm looking for something that's not there. I'm always looking for something that's new, but there is no something new.
Got you.
We're here.
Got you. I mean, I also started wondering the notion of there aren't good men and women out there. A lot of people often say that. Is it because they don't want to date the boring guy or the boring girl? So that's something we're going to be exploring. Something else that I want us to look at today is casting the net. So I'm going to read a scripture later on on the show, something that God spoke to me about. And I just want to see if you guys, or hear, if you guys can actually relate from that. And then later on, we look at Know Thyself. So that is coming up on the show today. Yeah, dating the boring guy,
All right.
the boring girl.
I'm very big on definition, right? So I would need by definition what is a boring guy or what is a boring girl.
Okay.
Somebody who does not fit your criteria.
Mine,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay, so girls like bad guys, bad boys,
It goes without saying.
right?
It goes without saying.
I saw a video the other day and I thought to myself, what on earth is this? The girl was saying to the guy, why are you not checking out other girls? Like, why are you faithful? I want toxic. You know, hurt me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I thought to
Yeah.
myself, this is crazy.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
So girls like bad guys. Gents like baddies.
I don't know. I don't like.
You don't
Well,
like that?
we like them, but we don't want to date them. If you understand what I'm saying.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't want to be with a Betty 24/7. I want to have fun with a Betty. You understand what I'm saying?
So the boring criteria
It's for me.
is outside that.
Yes.
So anybody who's not the bad guy, the bad boy or the baddie, that is the boring guy or the boring girl.
But another thing could be this. Boring could be what I feel is boring. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be universal. It can definitely mean I find Betty's boring. I la boring. You understand what I'm saying? And you could find them entertaining, but
Yeah.
and find my coffee shop or library girls
Yeah.
boring. And so I think this boring thing, it's deep.
Yeah, yeah.
It actually goes
I think
deep.
it's definitely personal.
Yeah.
Like the whole boring thing, it's definitely personal. Because I've experienced, like I have experience in like, I haven't called anyone a baddie.
In a long time. What are Betty's?
That's for sure. But the reality is, if I know what type of girl I probably wouldn't try and engage in purely because of I would find that boring. And I don't know if I would say boring per se, but just like I don't think I have anything to contribute in conversation with this person.
You know, can I just interject? What would be funny right now is I'm not sure if the other camera is recording you guys.
It's probably not. And we're going to do it again.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Probably not.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. It's just a feeling that I have.
Go check it out.
The other camera, not the one pointing at me.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
we'll
so,
do it
so
again.
just by the way, if you have tons of time and you want to help with the podcast, please come through because I do need somebody behind the scenes. I want to check the camera,
Do your thing. Do your thing.
but I do think it's recording. I don't know.
All right. Just in case it's not recording.
Just in case.
Stop singing Jahim, man. Jahim is going through a lot. It's not that time.
Is he going through a lot?
Hey, man, he should start putting that woman first. You should see him. He's going
See
through
what
the
happens
most.
when you put baddies first. Is it recording?
Yes, it is.
Lovely.
Dope.
It is recording. So you said you wanted to define. You want a definition of something.
Yeah, because I agree with Heavy in the sense that by definition we probably have our own description of what's boring, right? It's not that universal. Probably because in the conglomerate where we agree as gents, maybe it could be universal to say
Have you dated a boring girl? Just
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. And for me, what I felt boring was, like such a saying, conversations go a long way.
Yeah.
What we connect with, what we discuss, and what we interact, like what we,
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
It goes a long way. And for me, Shorty was, I like to talk about my past a lot. I was a jerk. I was a big jerk. Tabang should know this. Back in varsity, you think you're a little star, né? You're on radio, campus radio, so like almost everyone knows you, and then you start treating people unkindly. So along these people, you start treating unkindly. You meet up with a lot of girls. What up, brother? You see me? Back in the day, it was good times. But anyway, these girls you meet up with, some of them are going to entertain you, and some of them are not going to entertain you. I've had my fair share of boring girls, and it was a matter of Betty movement. I want to use that term a lot today because we know what a Betty is. I think we can define what a Betty is.
Yeah.
You understand? So she was more of a Betty. But then when we had to break it down, when we had to have our conversations, yawn, biggest yawn ever. But then on the other front, being a Betty, good God, she was good. You understand? So for me, I got bored because you understand that looks are everything. They're amazing. Trust me. You got to look good. But then in the long haul, in the long run, when we have to start conversating and everything, Sech, you get bored.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Nothing to second say I'm bored. You know those girls. Nothing to second say I'm bored. You don't want to be with that type of person all the time.
Yeah.
You want to bring her to your friends and we're all going to have some fun.
Yeah.
I pull up at your spot, nice, lovely spot like this. We sit down. You bring out the 30 seconds. Tada, let's have some fun. And then what's my girl going to say? Na 30 seconds, yeah, mbora. Man, that's heartbreaking, though. That is heartbreaking. I don't
hear
need
you.
that. No, that's painful. So for me, yeah, I've had my fair share of.
But can't you
boring.
cultivate a person, quote unquote?
You can cultivate who wants to be cultivated.
Yeah.
If you can help whoever wants to be helped. If that person is not ready, that person is not ready. If that person is for the streets and 30 seconds, yeah, Muboka, she wants to hit the club.
But she's not
30
for the
seconds, yeah,
streets. But she's not about
30 seconds.
seconds. She's a boring girl, quote unquote.
You can help whoever wants to be helped.
Yeah.
If that person is not ready, my dog.
Because remember, research says the boring person becomes interesting when you get into marriage.
People who get into marriage are ready for marriage. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear you. I don't think you get to a point of being ready for marriage.
I think you
by
do.
the way.
I think you do.
It's like having children.
Okay, fine. There's mistakes. I'm not saying kids are mistakes. Oh my goodness. Actually, you gotta stop me, buddy. But what I'm saying what I'm saying
What's in the code?
what I'm saying basically is, look, you sometimes we act hastily. We act without thinking, and then we jump into situations we're not ready for. Sometimes we are definitely ready to settle, and if you're ready for something, you are. It's like that book, The Alchemist. It discusses your destiny, being ready to go after what you want. You can try to go after what you want, but then you have to be ready for it. Yeah. If it happens at the wrong time, then you are never ready, and chances are, utoja flop along the way.
Got
but
you.
if you're ready, my brother, if you're good and willing to change for a person, if you're good and willing to be cultivated, then trust me, you will show signs, and that person will receive those signs, and they will act upon those signs.
Yeah.
Without those signs of this person is ready, this girl is for the streets, my boy. Not at the flipping house with 30 seconds with my boys. It's not going to work.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You keep going back to the streets. I don't know why.
Man, I miss the streets, I think. I haven't been in
Really?
the streets in a long time. Oh, man.
Speaking of the streets and all of that, I did allude to the fact that often there's a notion among people that there isn't a lot of good women, a lot of good men out there. When you look at the dating pool right now, what are your thoughts on the dating pool in 2024? And for somebody who's looking to get into a relationship, do you think they stand a chance?
Sech can go first on this one.
Look, man, the dating pool.
I think it's overwhelming.
It's
It's
dramatic.
underwhelming.
I like that. Under.
What did you say?
He said underwhelming. I didn't say anything. I said it's dramatic.
I just feel like we I don't know. For lack of a better term, I'll just say traumatized dating pool.
Yeah.
We're doing too much, ne?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us are acting from a place of trauma, pain, hurt, all of those things that the book says, what do you see? I feel like the things that we have been accustomed to see
Yeah.
allude so much to disappointment that we don't really even have that much expectation anymore. And the lack of expectation actually leads us to what we essentially get,
Yeah.
which is disappointment. And like I feel like most cases these days, when something happens, it's mostly likely to end up being, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this girl was not going to be the one. I knew this dude was not going to be the one. I just feel like we look into the dating pool with so much trauma. And I feel like because of the hurt that has happened before, nobody's willing to do the work on themselves.
100%.
They just more, what? They're better at pointing fingers.
Yeah, and at cutting people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's better for me to be like, the dating pool is a mess instead of saying I'm a mess. And actually,
I like that.
yeah,
That's beautiful as well.
yeah, like just be like, men are trash, men are this, or women are trash, women are this. But what are you doing? I was actually thinking about it the other day that I think for the first time I'm in a relationship with someone I call my partner.
Yeah.
I say my partner, and the thing is, the four parts of the word partner is part.
Yeah.
So when you say my partner, you're saying my part,
I love that.
right? So it's like a thing. What's your part in the
Yeah,
contribution of the
nice.
relationship? What's your part in the dating pool? So I just feel like most of us have pulled so much from the pain, the hurt, the trauma. We have so many things that we pull into the relationship or into the dating pool itself.
You know,
Where, like,
you know what I'm picking up from what you're saying, and I love that you're saying that we're pulling so much from the past. We're thinking so much about the future. I'm learning something now in my life.
Yeah.
We're talking self-development. You have to learn to live in the present.
yeah,
The minute you bring the past, the minute you bring the future into everything, it's gonna. I'm not saying don't think about where you're going in life. Of
Okay.
course, you have to make sure that you have a point, you have a goal,
Sure.
you have to build towards that. You understand? But thinking and always planning around this beautiful person you want to be dating in the future and how they have to be, all of that jazz, and then thinking again about the past and bringing your traumas into it and bringing your pain. Oh my God, she broke my heart. Oh my God, I caught her cheating. All of those things, and then bringing it to your life now. You're not gonna do anything sense with. You understand? You're gonna F up everything.
Yeah.
The next person you meet, I am telling you the honest truth, you're gonna break her heart because
Yeah.
you're taking on so much baggage.
Yeah.
But it's not easy, né? Like living in the present
not.
is a mission.
It's not.
bro. Hey.
Because automatically we are anxious people
Dog.
when you think about it.
Dog.
But I like the posture that we should constantly say to ourselves that the dating pool is not a mess, but that we are a mess.
yeah,
But it takes a lot of boldness and courage
Yeah.
to actually get to that point
Yeah.
and have that honest
You
conversation
gotta
with
grow,
yourself.
baby.
yeah.
You know what I
You're
mean?
right.
And I think it has a lot to do with humility as well. The way that I see it, I think it has a lot to do with humility, but I think a lot of us are not humble.
Or not. Or not. Another thing, I think we're hungry. It's difficult to be humble when you're that hungry. If you understand what I'm saying. You just want to prove a point that you belong to a certain space or you belong to a certain room, and humility comes hard. But
It's strange.
You need it. You understand?
It's strange. That thing is going to ring in my head for the longest time. The dating pool is not a mess. I'm a mess. And I think that's where the real work then needs to start.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of
I think
course.
self-literacy is very, very
Yeah,
important.
bro. It's not the
brother.
easiest thing, bro.
It's not.
Not.
Looking in the mirror and saying, I'm the problem.
Yeah, I used to ask this question back in varsity, that if you were to look at yourself in the mirror, and you didn't see your face but your character, would you smile or would you be terrified?
Man, don't do that to us now, my man. We're
No,
trying.
no,
eh?
I'm just saying.
Self-literacy.
Yeah, this literacy. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
This guy.
You know what I mean?
It's a fighter, baby.
I think once we take the mirror and actually look at ourselves, once we do that, once we intentionally pick it up and say, you know what, I'm going to take this mirror and I'm going to look at myself, that's where the work starts. And I think a lot of us are not ready for that. A lot of us are not ready for that. And I think it's something that it's a path that a lot of us need to get into, you know, self-literacy, hence the name of this podcast, you know, self-literacy.
I love that you brought that up. Nah? Remember I was telling you I was in an accident not so long ago.
Yeah.
A lot of self-literacy moments came after that. I don't want to be all like a light came, but probably that's what happened. You understand?
Yeah.
But a lot of moments of, okay, fine, you've been through 1, 2, 3, and this is where you are. You're not doing a lot with your life at this point in time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get into this nasty accident. You look at your life, you look at the things you're doing now, and you start to self-introspect. Now you start looking at yourself and thinking, okay, well, what's going on? One thing that really helped me to focus on me and put the spotlight in my life, in every single aspect of my life, was that one thing we spoke about. I try to make sure that every single time I bring it to the forefront. A gratitude. It's going to help you a lot when you have to look yourself in the mirror, like you're saying. Because I can banter all I want, but what you're saying is absolutely right. You have to stand in front of that mirror.
Yep.
You have to take yourself out of yourself, and you have to look at yourself, and you have to think, okay, fine. Are you good, big dog? What's going on? I'm not. And then when you look at yourself now, when I looked at myself after that point in my life, and I really did sit back and just look at myself and think, hey, my man, this is what's happening in your life. This is where you are now. Are you good? Through gratitude, my boys, I actually felt that I was all right. Everything was happening that was not good, but I just felt I'm actually where I needed to be. And that in turn, through that self-introspection and that's the way I looked at myself, it actually helped me to reach out and start making moves. I talked to my boy after a long time. I'm like, hey, my man, I'm coming through, whatever. You understand? Like, you start making moves because you realize, hey, you're not liking what you're seeing. So you have to really do that.
Yeah, there comes a point in time where you're just like, what's this?
Oh, right.
What's happening? You know, and I was going to say, another thing is that we've all lived long enough. Okay, maybe some longer than others.
Slow down, buddy.
But
Touching a nerve.
Hey, my man.
No, but what I'm trying to get to is the fact that everywhere you go, we're all carrying traumas. We're all carrying burdens. We're all carrying hurt, pain, all of these things.
Yep.
Now, the people that are going to come into your life, they're going to trigger something. It could be something, a happy memory. It could be a sad memory. But if you haven't dealt with it, you're going to call the next person somehow. But the problem is you haven't dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's your issue. So the person just triggered it. And instead of saying, hey, thank you for helping trigger this thing, I actually didn't know that I need to work on this thing. You're going to be like, nah, this girl is somehow, or this dude is whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? So what I've grown to learn is that when something triggers me, I need to look and be like, Mara, why?
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this touching a nerve? Why is this doing this to me? You know? And I feel like a lot of us, because of the resistance to look in the mirror, you end up just being like, it's easier to deflect. You know? It's easier to just be like, I get low, etc.
100%.
You know, like it's whatever. I'm just gonna
scrolling.
Yeah, I'm just gonna block her and find and talk to.
Okay, you go to the black book.
Yeah.
And just go back to my Chictionary. You know,
100%.
That's what you call it.
That's quite regressive.
It's
counterproductive.
not going to work. It's not going to
in my
work.
opinion.
but in reality,
what happens.
That's what happens.
You're right.
It's what happens most of the time is that people. It's not even a thing that person is a bad person. It's just that they triggered something bad in you. So instead of you being like, maybe that's the baddie in me. That it's like easier to deflect.
100%. And I think it all boils down to humility, like I said. I think 1 Peter 5 verse 7 says, cast all your anxieties, onto him because he cares about you, right? But verse 6, so the verse before that says, humble yourself. It says, humble yourself, therefore under God's mighty hand, right? That he may lift you up, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't get this. For verse 7 to happen, for him to help you and, just take care of your burdens and your anxieties, that needs to be predicated by the verse before, which is humility, humbling yourself. You know, and I think the same is applicable in the many situations we find ourselves in. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just need to take a back seat and say, what is it about this situation that's making me feel this way, instead of just, going ham and saying, you know what, I'm not gonna talk too heavy anymore. In fact, I'm blocking him. You know what, I'm actually cutting him out of my life. I think that's childish, number one. But that's like sweeping things under the carpet.
You're not tackling the situation.
Yeah, ultimately, they're gonna come out.
Yeah.
They're gonna come out. So I think when you practice humility, you literally decrease, to sort of like understand things, to say to yourself, you know what, heavy was not the problem here, or Tabang was not the problem here. Maybe there's something that I've swept under the carpet that I haven't dealt with. And maybe let me look at that. And once you do that, I promise you, your interactions with people, your relationships with people, it's going to be very better. Because here's the thing, we undermine and underestimate the work we actually put and what that actually does, not just for us, but for the people around us. If you decide today that, you know what, I'm going to therapy, I'm going for therapy, it's not just for your benefit at the end of the day. It's for the benefit of the people around you as well, because ultimately you are going to get a wife. I don't know if you want to get married, but yeah, hypothetically speaking, in a perfect world, you'll get a wife and you'll have kids. And once you're married, you can't hold the posture of, one day now, I'm not going to speak to you, or I'm leaving. No, that's your wife.
Unfortunately, a lot of people do. Yeah, exactly.
That's your wife.
You didn't cultivate yourself.
You need to deal with things, but that starts with you working in yourself first. Yeah.
But that humility thing goes a long way. Like, we're talking relationships now, yes, but it is all around your life. Every successful person, you know this when you get into those books and you start reading. Every person you follow and look up to will tell you one thing, like, you gotta be humble, you gotta relax. Majority of them, all that is, you understand?
Yeah.
They'll tell you the same thing. Look, you have to humble
and
yourself.
Not fake humility.
No, not fake humility.
We're not talking about fake humility. We're talking about
proper, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even, look, I'm not saying, this is where it gets me off all the time. When people would come out and say, no, you have to say hello to everybody from the person. I'm like, yeah, I understand you have to say that. That's good. That's manners. You understand?
100%.
That's simple. It's manners.
Yeah.
But it doesn't define your humility. Humility goes a long way. I don't have to say nothing to the person down there, but I have to respect him. If I have to say something to him, I'll definitely. I was telling Sech now. We met up at the gate. Yeah, we didn't know we're coming to the same place. You understand?
Yeah.
I didn't look at him in the wrong way, and I didn't interact with him in any way.
Hey, my man, you stepped on me.
I'm a man.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm so big I couldn't even feel it.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I don't know this man. You understand? And I'm not gonna like just disrespect him in any way because I don't know him. I'm gonna respect his space, and I'm gonna make sure that, okay, fine. Oh, how can you understand?
Yeah.
Show respect to the people you're around. Show respect to the security guard because I have to interact with him. But I'm not gonna go out of my way and just stop the car. You understand? No.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
I think you actually said it better when we were still outside, when you said, this is Joburg. We don't even greet.
Remember.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it goes a long way. It goes a long way in the sense that the space that you're in also influences how you respond in a way. Because I feel...
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah?
Just give it to me.
Okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a podcast. It's
Are we taking photos?
this is not radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what
happened?
just rinse. It's fine.
Let me finish that one there. I think that one is mine. Yeah. Let me finish this one.
You want to down this? You good?
Yeah, let me just down
You
it.
just down it.
Because I like it. It just looks weird all the time.
You're not talking in the mic. You're not talking in the mic, so we're not hearing what you're saying.
Subtitles.
Yeah, dude. Joburg.
Yeah, but what I was trying to say or get to is that also just adding on what you're saying, or maybe a question rather, is that the spaces that we find ourselves in sort of kind of influence how we respond to the same space, right?
100%.
Because what I know for sure is when I'm home, back home,
Yeah.
like that, I wouldn't necessarily come across that same incident, you know, like I'll probably have greeted or whatever the case, you know. But we're so used to the Joburg thing, they're doing their own
just
thing.
doing your own thing.
Yeah, so I feel like in the same regard, the how we respond to the dating pool or dating
Yeah.
or all of that is the same, you know. Usually when you go home, you even hear comments like, yo, man, about Josie, you know, all of that, you know,
Yeah.
already that conditions you, you know,
100%,
like
uh-huh.
it definitely conditions you. You're already thinking otherwise when you're thinking about a certain group of people. The same way they may be conditioned about dudes in Joburg or whatever
Yeah.
the case, you know. And then there's this classicism and all of those things. But I just
Everything.
feel like there's a whole lot that goes into the conditioning of the human mind before they actually come with those things that are, this person is boring. This
Yeah.
person is not the one, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Just on that note of humility, I just want to share a scripture, and obviously I'll just qualify everything after reading the scripture. So it's the story of Simon Peter. I don't know if you've read it.
Why are you looking at me? Yo, you looked into my soul.
Yo, I don't know if you
Yo, why are you looking at me?
okay.
Okay,
Wow, guys. Wow.
you know, I have to go for a serious Bible study.
So the story of Simon Peter, it says, and I quote, when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But because you say so, I will let down the nets." Humility. Because you say so, I will let down the nets. When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. So I find this story very interesting and also very fitting for so many of us. Now, a bit of background. I think 2 weeks ago, I had a sporadic thought from God, literally out of nowhere, that said, "Cast the nets." And already I knew that was God. Like there's certain thoughts that would just come to my mind, and I know that that's God speaking. Often I get them while I'm training. I don't know why, but yeah, God uses the gym to speak to me. Very strange places as well, but the gym a lot. So yeah, I have this sporadic thought, cast the nets. And at that time, I'm just like, cast the nets. What's going on? I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. And I just go about with my life. And then the thought comes again. But as it comes the second time round, it is accompanied by another thought that says to me, if you go into my studio, you'll realize that there's a whiteboard on one of the walls. So that's where I'd write like a lot of stuff, my plans and goals and, you know, some of the things that I want to achieve and. So cast the net is accompanied by a second thought that says to me, go and wipe off everything that you've written on your whiteboard.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey man,
Yeah, no.
what's going on?
Hey, now you're teaching you, man.
Humility. You don't understand it. Humility. I'm like, all right, cool. I go there, I wipe everything off. Everything, literally. Wipe off everything. Again, go about with my life. I'm not understanding what's happening. And then as time went by, I then had an epiphany, a realization that what God was trying to say to me is and was all those things that I'd written on my whiteboard, the goals, the dreams, the aspirations, whatever the case may be. He was saying to me, those are not my desires for you, Tabang. Those
That's
are
not the
your
plan.
those are your desires.
For yourself.
Yes. All those things are not from me. And so because they're not from me, they're not going to give me glory. And I live to give glory to God. That is very important to inform me. If I can't give glory to God, then I'm just like, what am I doing?
What a waste of
Even
time.
with this podcast, we may banter, we may do this, and at the end of the day, this podcast is for the glory of God. So I wipe out everything. Like I said, I have this realization, this epiphany that, hey, those desires are not my desires, but your desires, and as I thought more about it, like just the term casting the nets or cast the nets, I realized that it's such a multifaceted term that it could mean going back to the drawing board and taking up his desires, his plans for you, right? That it could mean humbling ourselves and saying, God, you know better. It could mean leaning on him. I think we spoke about this recently, you and I, where I said Proverbs 3:5-6, he says, trust in God, right? Lean not on your own understanding, right? Trusting his word, his plans, letting go and letting God. The list is endless, really. There's so many things when you actually break down that term, that phrase, casting the nets or cast the nets. There's so many things that could actually come out of that. So as I was thinking about this, and with me inviting you guys to the podcast, I thought I want to bring it to the fore and ask you guys, have you ever been in a situation or a moment where you had to cast the nets? Now, remember, I explained that it's such a multifaceted term. Have you ever been in a moment where you had to let go and let God, where you had to humble yourself and say, God, you know better, where you had to trust him, even when it didn't make sense? I always say we need to pray to God and ask him for grace to trust him, because trust is something else.
That's that thing about living in the moment.
You know what I mean? If I stand here and I say, or rather, if Heavy says stand there, stand in front of me and fall backwards, I want to catch you. I'm just like, dude.
What's wrong?
Though I know he's gonna catch me, you know what I mean. So, have you ever been in a situation where you had to like cast the nets? How did it look like? What were your thoughts? What were you thinking about? And how did you go about with it? I'll start with you, Sech.
I think my whole probably like my whole journey or life in Joburg has been about casting nets.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I don't know if you know my backstory until when, but yeah, before I moved to Joburg, I was in Pretoria. And when I was in Pretoria, my life was a mess.
We at school there.
Dear
Yeah.
my God.
Okay.
Yeah, my life was dear Makar.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was just, yeah.
You.
Which was, that was my life.
Yeah.
The only thing that made sense in my life at that point in time was church.
Wow.
That's where my commitment to my salvation took place.
Yeah.
Every time I look back at my journey in Pretoria, I always just like, I'm grateful for those years.
Oh, right.
At the time, it didn't make sense, but now I look back and I'm like, if it wasn't for those years, I don't think I'd be this anchored, this believing, casting nets and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I think for the most part, my life has been that, where I am, my career, what I do, all of that, it's predominantly been casting the net. If I can just tell you a bit of it, is that when I left film school, what I wanted to do was direct. I never had intentions of touching the camera, had no interest in the camera, but the first production job I ever got was camera. And I was like, God, which one is this one?
Yeah.
What am I to do with this now?
And I think that's also part of casting the nets, where you actually, what's the word? Well, not misaligned, but in our heads, we think it's misaligning.
Yeah.
But remember, God has a different vantage point from us,
Exactly. And he
Right.
sees the whole picture.
but we don't.
We don't.
So you might think, God, I wanted to become a director. And then your first production job is camera operation.
Bro.
And you think God is misaligning you.
Yeah, and I'm like, what am I doing?
But he's probably, at that time, he's aligning you and you don't see it.
That's exactly what you were saying just now when you were saying I had my own desires.
Yeah.
My desire was to be that,
Yeah.
but it wasn't necessarily God's clearly, you know? And I don't know, God works in mysterious ways. I don't know where I'd be in the next 10 years or whatever the case. But moving on from that, every other thing that came after that, I still get anxious today when I have to be on camera.
Yeah.
I still rely, and it's what we're talking about, the reliance and all of that. I still don't have it's not the confidence. I have the confidence, but it's not the leaning on my own ability
Yeah.
type thing.
I have the same thing. Every time I have to go do a voiceover.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when I like tell them this, they don't believe me. And that's why every time I get into my car, I'll pray. I remember I started doing like work for Game Botswana and Game Lesotho. So there's like different sort of like deliveries in voiceovers, right?
course,
There's a soft sell, there's a medium sell, there's a hard sell. So hard sell is very urgent, energetic, very enthusiastic. And,
Yes.
and so I get there, and these guys want a different type of delivery, bro. Like super, 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 super hard sell.
Like animated Hudson.
Like it's like what? And I remember how uncomfortable it made me feel. And so every time I had to go do that recording
Anxious.
for Game, like I was so anxious. In fact, one day I wanted to call them and say, I'm not feeling well.
Yeah. I feel you.
But then I remembered that God put me here for a reason,
Yes.
right? Because remember, the tomorrow's opportunities, right, lie or rely on the hinges of today's obedience. So whatever happens tomorrow is predicated by how obedient you are today, especially where God has placed you.
Exactly.
So I was having that interpersonal conversation with myself saying, I'm going to call these people and tell them, I'm not coming through. I'm not feeling well.
I'm done with y'all.
Right? But then I remembered God put you here.
Yeah.
And so I had to say, hey, God, like Nehemiah, when you read the book of Nehemiah in the Bible, he had a deep dependence on God. Literally anything and everything he talked to God, he prayed to God about even the most mundane, minute things. He talked to God. He prayed to God. You know, and that taught me like a lot about dependence and so your opportunities of tomorrow are predicated by your obedience of today. So that whole thing about anxiety and I can really relate to it. And that's why you need to then put God into the picture and say, I can't.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the whole anxiety thing, we can all relate. In fact, a lot of people can definitely relate on that one. It's not easy. You understand? Especially when I get you want this so bad. You have this plan for yourself, but then the plan will change along the way according to the Almighty, like we're all saying.
Yeah.
You're going to feel anxious when you're put in a space you didn't want to be in the first place. A space you were not planning on. You're in that space now, and then a lot of things happen that make you uncomfortable.
Yep.
Bruh, when I started feeling anxious, I don't know what it was, because it was never my thing for a very long time. I've never been that person who like panics in a space because of something that's making me uncomfortable there. But when it started hitting me and spaces didn't make me feel good anymore, you don't even want to go there.
Nope.
Bro, there was a time where I didn't like going home because I was handling a project back in Lesotho.
Yeah.
So every single time my phone went off at home, it made me uncomfortable because I knew there was always something wrong. Every single time that phone went off, you know it's gonna be a bad call. So every single time my phone went off, every single time I used to think about my phone, I just got so anxious. I got uncomfortable. And that went on and on and on and on until recently, just now, like after the accident and everything, just before the accident, I cast my net as well. Basically, I was like, look, maybe this is my time to move differently. I saw a verse, not a verse, I'm sorry. I saw, I think, a video on Instagram this one time from Rick Ross, and I love this thing. I like how he says this all the time. He says, I don't want to move fast. I want to move correctly. You see, that thing alone, it got me going. And then it helped me move according to what I feel I need to do. The whole thing about moving in the present is more recent. Like we do say, we have a plan. We want to go this direction. But then there's a bigger plan for us.
100%.
It's not our plan. It's not my plan. It's not your plan.
Yeah.
It's there's a much higher being. There's God in the picture, and that's the real plan. When that plan connects, things will start connecting.
100%.
I'm telling you, feel the space. Back to the book I'm reading also. It's just an amazing book. The Alchemist thing. It says the same thing. It's all about the omens. Like if things make sense, or if things take you there, then that's where you have to be. The universe will conspire in your favor, just so you can keep on moving. 100%. You understand? So, like, you cast your net, but you have to be in the moment. You cannot cast your net and think about too far away. You have to cast your net to move correct.
I think I'm gonna let you finish just now, Sech. Heavy, you said something about Rick Ross. He said, I don't want to move too fast.
Yeah.
And this is my American accent, just by the way. I don't want to move too fast.
Not bad. Not bad.
Correct.
Maybach music.
Right? And it's like, when you were speaking, when you were saying that, I was just reminded that God puts brakes on us. Because, like I said earlier on, he has a different vantage point, right? But number two, I think he understands. I posted yesterday because I had a tough day, and we went to church and we had rehearsal, and I really had a tough day. And as we left, I just went on my phone and I posted a status saying that, I'm so thankful, and this is me paraphrasing. I'm so thankful that God has figured out everything.
I remember that post.
While we are trying to figure this, that, and the other, while we're trying to make sense of this and that and the other, God has figured out everything. He's not trying to figure things he's not trying to figure out anything. He's not trying to make sense of anything. He's already figured out everything. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful for that reminder and that reassurance. So vantage point, number one. Number two, he's figured out everything. But number three, I think God understands that it's better to get to a place ready rather than fast. Because if you get to a place fast and not ready, you won't last.
I don't want to move fast. I want to move correctly.
Correctly. Sech, director, camera operator.
Yeah. But what you're saying, God has a better vantage point. He's looking from a different vantage point. And that propelled the way my career went, or still going, whatever the case, and all of that. But what I'm trying to get to is that through that desire that I had, I think recently, I learned how to let go too. We have this thing where, like, even when you're praying, you have goals, or you're trusting or believing, you have goals and whatnot. Like, I feel like I was strong arming God.
Sharp.
Or like the universe, or like my belief, or whatever the case. That I remember sharing with my girlfriend. I'm like, I genuinely want to start praying God's desires for my life. Because what I've seen is that
I love that.
That is being consecrated.
Pray the desires that God has for me, not pray what I want God to do for me.
And this
You know
is
what I'm
in
saying?
every facet of your life.
In
Everything.
Even the person you date.
everything.
everything.
Because
Yeah, because sometimes you're supposed to date a lady and you're dating a palisa, and it's like,
Palulu
and it's
lena.
sorry, like palisa for catching strays.
Palulu
It's
lena.
not
Hey,
personal.
Palulu.
Bali. Hey, Bali.
Hey, Mbale.
yeah, because
Yeah.
the thing is, our desires are based on preference. You know, it's what we prefer, whereas God gives us what we need.
Sure.
You know, so it's like I prefer a palesa. You know, God is like, you need an lady. The person that you are, you need an lady. You need a person that's gonna break this out of you, that's gonna trigger this out of you, that's gonna, you know. So just to help you mold, so just to link it back to what I was saying about my career or whatever the case, or casting the net, is that I've learned, or still learning actually, still learning how to trust God's word over my life,
Yeah.
promises or all of those things, and them aligning with my desires. You know, because so I've just joined this thing now. We're reading the Bible from cover to cover, and we by Joshua now, and God's word from since the promises of Abraham hasn't changed.
Nope.
The
It's
people
written in
have
stone.
changed. They have had other desires. They've had other worship.
But
they've
somehow
worshipped
it's
Amazing
other
is
the
things.
that.
They, you know, like a lot has happened until now. But God, when the book of Joshua starts, God goes back to what he said. And one thing that I've learned is that God won't change what he said until it actually happens.
Yeah.
Until it actually manifests. And that for me has been a revelation in the sense of saying, personally, I'm not that person that says, I feel like God is quiet or my prayers are not being answered or whatever. I've never had that. And I struggle when people say that. And what I usually say is that it's either you're not listening or you haven't acted on the last thing God spoke to you about. That's the only thing that I feel when the silence or not hearing God feels like a feeling in my life is the case. The same thing when Jesus was on the cross was like, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, Lord, why have you forsaken me? And God didn't say anything. He didn't have to say anything because he had already said something. You know, so that's how, like, for me, I try to move now in moving correctly, in understanding that I need to align myself with that greater purpose that's meant for me.
100%.
You know, like,
Yeah.
it's one thing for me to desire to drink that Coke. It's a preference. I prefer Coke. God is like, nah, water. You know,
Juice.
or whatever the case.
Yeah.
You're not a water person.
It's just an example.
this guy.
It's just an example. I'm just saying.
No,
It's just an example.
but you're right.
Is this guy framed properly, bro? Because I feel like Heavy has been moving and moving, eh? I'm just worried.
You think? No, I think we're good. You don't think so?
Check. If it's
This guy has been like moving.
the
and stuff.
reflection.
Who, me?
Oh, there it is. He's fine.
So we're good, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. Now you made me forget. Jump on first because now I have to remember what I was saying. Ish, this guy now. Hey, man.
That was saying, like you
Yes,
said
we
something.
Yeah.
You
to
said something
recalibrate.
that got me thinking, and what I wanted to say was that your relationship with God can't depend on Him always responding, and yeah, no,
Yeah.
then you are in trouble.
Yeah.
If that is your posture, then
Exactly.
you are in trouble.
Exactly.
Well, okay, before I forget
Dude,
again.
can I tell you
Before you
something?
forget,
Before I forget again, one thing I want to say, don't forget as well. Hey, man, now we're going to be forgetting all the time now. Before I forget again, there's a saying, Kasusotu. And there's a saying, I used to think it was just a thing we used to say, Le Magita. It's an extra thing. We used to say, "Ingotsulejwe," like it's written
In stone.
In stone, you understand? For the longest time, I'm just thinking, that's a cool thing to say. No, it's written in stone. It's older than that. Like your story, my boy. It goes beyond your time here on earth.
Yeah.
You understand? It goes
Yeah.
way back. So you come here wanting to alter everything, and then you're going to complain and say, God is not listening to my prayer. Hey, my man, you're just wasting his time now. Just do this part so we can carry on with the story.
The Israelites. The Israelites. You literally just painted a picture of the Israelites. Like, just move.
Yeah.
That's why I said to you, what happens tomorrow is predicated by your obedience today.
You gotta move correctly now.
Yes.
Get the future.
Not fast.
Hey.
But yes, as I was saying, your relationship with God cannot depend on Him responding, right? The story of Bartimaeus. So Bartimaeus is a beggar in the Bible, just for context purposes. He's a blind beggar, right? He hears.
Before you go on, I just like how you always look at when you're breaking something down in the Bible, because you know, hey, this one has a problem now. But anyway, go on.
You said that, not me. You said that.
Yeah, no. Let the
I do
record
think.
show.
No, but
You're my witness.
I'm getting in the groove. I like this. Yeah.
I was saying, he hears that Jesus is in the vicinity. And so he starts shouting. Not smooth talking, what's up, Heavy? What's up, Sech? No, shouting. The Bible says he starts shouting, Son of David, have mercy on me. And the people around him tell him to shut up. Like,
They tell Jesus to shut up.
no, Bartimaeus.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
No, they tell Bartimaeus to shut up. But it's like the more they told him to shut up, the more he shouted, Son of David, have mercy on me. So long story short, he gets his blessing, he receives his sight back, etc. Now that story teaches all of us, that desperation has a sound. So often we want to talk to God once, and that's it.
Chill.
You don't court a girl, you don't see a girl now, you like her, you're like, hey man, I want your number, may I have your numbers? And she says no, you're like, all right, cool man. Then you leave. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a relationship. Like I said, you can't. It cannot depend on him responding all the time. But what if sometimes God wants your fervor? Sometimes that's what He wants. Knock, because the Bible says knock.
Keep knocking.
Knock, dude. Knock. Seek. If you seek something, if you and I, maybe your key is nowhere to be found, we look for it. Chances are we're going to look for it for some time. That's seeking. Seeking, it's not something that when you start seeking, it doesn't happen at, what time is it now? It's 14:33. You don't seek at 14:33.
It's not recording.
Is it not recording? What happened? It stopped.
Yeah, just have to press record again.
Do I need to press record again?
Yeah, go press record again.
Okay. So you don't start seeking now at 14:33, and by 14:34, you found. Just record.
Yeah. Press it again.
I just don't want you to lose where you were, so we don't want to say anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I pick it up
Should have
again.
said something because it was going to help me with editing. But
No, don't worry. Don't worry, you're fine. Go.
yes. So, amen. Just have fervor. Just at times have fervor. Like just go deep. Level up.
But you know when you talk about that knocking, it's very important what you said about you don't court somebody and just give up.
They say no way.
You're gone. If it's the right person, you have to keep going. Keyword, the right person. You don't know what's right for you. I guess we know that. But within your destiny, within your journey up or God's plan for you, the signs will show.
Yeah.
You have that eye contact from that person that will say to you, this person, I don't have to give up now because something is working in your favor.
Did you not have eye contact with all your girls?
No, but there's different eye contact.
Okay, what's the difference?
There's body eye contact. It's important we state that out. There's that eye contact there in our last day. You understand? And that's where it's going. But then there's other forms of eye contact or other signs. Okay, fine, let's not say eye contact.
Yeah.
But there's definitely gonna be other signs that are gonna tell you this is where I have to be knocking. My man, what I don't believe in, we have to be knocking in the wrong place. then those doors will keep on being shut all the time because it's the wrong door for you.
Yeah.
You
I think
understand?
remain in God.
Exactly.
He'll give you discernment not to knock in the wrong places.
That's what I'm saying.
That said, we need to wrap up the episode.
There's no way. We have a lot to say.
There's a lot to say. I know it feels like we started the
Bruh.
episode 1 minute ago.
Yeah.
But it's literally we've been recording for an hour.
For real?
100%.
Jeez, like.
We've been recording for an hour. I just want to get into know thyself real quick.
All right.
I'm gonna throw a word to you guys. Throw out a word to you guys, and whatever comes to mind, just say it.
Who's going first? Sorry.
Whoever. Self-literacy in terms of your emotions.
You want to go first, Sech?
So I just say one word.
Say whatever comes to mind.
Ask again. Sech, you're going first.
Self-literacy in terms of, in the context of your emotions. Why has that been important? Or why is that important? And when you look at the many relationships in your life, your platonic relationships, your romantic relationship, how's that helped?
How has it helped?
Yes.
Also, the question is, how has it helped? It has helped with awareness, man. You know, earlier on we were talking about looking into thyself, looking into the mirror, and all of that, and still have a long way to go. I'd like to believe, but
Yeah.
one thing I can confidently say now is that I've actually taken that step to know myself better. You know, like when something triggers me, I do question, why does it trigger me? You know, when something doesn't sit well with me, instead of saying, hey man, what you said offended me, I'm going to look into myself. Why does it touch me the way it's touching me? You know, bro? And yeah, for me, it has been self-awareness. I always tell my friends, like, especially when I go home, is that I'm aware that when I'm at home, I'm my mom's first son. I'm my brother's big brother. I'm my sister's little brother.
Yeah.
I'm my nephew's uncle. You know, I'm my grandmother's
Grandson.
you know, and I have to be all of those people at once, you know. And when I'm in Joburg, I just have to be Sech, and that's fine, you know. And the reason why I'm saying that is my awareness of it all, you know. Like, it has really helped, self-literacy has helped with knowing how to show up as myself in spaces where I need to show up. You know, I know and have a well-rounded coverage of myself.
Yeah.
To say, Ori, no, I'm present. I know that this is me and this is what I bring. Yeah.
Heavy?
Self-literacy
Context of emotions.
in context of emotions. For me, man, it's been quite emotional. I'll give you that. Starting from 2019. Remember 2019 I was here? And then for all of us, it's been emotional. The change, the switch up, all of a sudden everything is gone. Now you have to reboot. Within that reboot, you realize everybody along your space is actually in the space of rebooting. It messes up with your emotions a lot. It's not nice. It's not a nice feeling going back when you're believing that you're making strides. And of course, it goes back to one thing. God's plan and not your plan. You think you're on the right path, but are you really? Let's do this again, and this time around, let's do it correctly. Let's move accordingly. So emotionally, self-literacy, what I've learned recently is you have to be grateful. You have to relax. You have to calm down. You have to just be here. You know, don't let your emotions go. Hey man, it's not easy. The anxiety thing was also a thing as well. When it kicks in,
Yeah.
you know, it's real. When that imposter syndrome kicks in, when you have to go do a recording, like my boy was saying, it's not easy. And then you feel like your voice is leaving you, and you're like, I have the best voice here. I'm here because of my voice, and this damn voice is disappointing me. You're going crazy. But the minute you just come down, and I said this, and I'm gonna say this again. I'm recently learning this now. As in the minute you come down, you become centered and you just relax. and just be in the now, trust me, you're moving correctly. The minute you overthink, your anxieties come into play. You think about your past. Man, I was on a radio station. I was moving the way I wanted to be moving. That also messes you up. You're thinking about the future. Man, we're applying on so many. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. Nobody's saying anything. That's going to mess you. But the minute you say, okay, so I'm having breakfast. Nice breakfast. I'm here. You understand? Oh, snap. Taban wants me to hit him up later for a meeting. Nice. We'll do that when we get there.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Your emotions tend to just relax and you just in a good space.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think for me, self-literacy in the context of emotion, I've learned grace, not just for me, but for other people as well. Because I realized that we are the same before we are different, if that makes sense. So before you are Heavy D, before you are Sech, before I'm Tabang, we are both humans. And that's the first thing that connects us. I think often, you feeling some type of way and then you just like take it out on everybody, or somebody says something, and you just go ham on that person. What I've learned and what self-literacy has sort of like taught me and what self-literacy is teaching me still is to have grace, have empathy, have grace for other people, have empathy for other people, but have grace for yourself as well, because often we're so hard on ourselves. That's why I posted what I posted earlier on. Yesterday, last night after church. But I know before I would have just like been tough on myself, hard on myself. You know what I mean? No, you can't have a hard day, because like toxicness, like you can't, bro, like you can't. And I think we spoke about this. You can't have a hard day. You're a man up.
Kids are dying in Africa.
You know what I mean?
And you're here complaining. You better eat that.
Like some toxic nonsense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just some toxic nonsense. So I've learned to just like show grace to myself, to say, you know what, like just be mindful of any and everything that I feel. Just feel it.
Yeah. I just love that.
But don't dwell on it. Like feel it.
Exactly.
If you're sad, like be sad. You know what I mean? If you're not feeling some type of way,
be in the moment.
Like, feel that, but don't dwell on it. You know what I mean? I think that's what self-literacy in the context of emotions has taught me, to just like show grace to myself.
Doc, how liberating is that? Like after you felt that way, how relaxing and just, it's like a weight being lifted off of you.
Yeah.
Like we take on so much nonsense. We're thinking about so many
Yeah,
things.
because I'm just like, no, God, like you have it figured out.
Yeah, I'm
like
fine.
you figured out everything. I don't have to be, I don't have to figure out everything, because I think often we just want to like figure out everything, and I think that's where our anxiety comes from.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like you want to like have everything figured out.
Do you know how many accidents would be avoided on the road because we're just thinking about the moment?
I must have everything figured out all the time. That is slavery.
That's too much pressure.
It's too much.
That is slavery. You know what I mean? So,
It's too much pressure.
yeah, I think that's been the biggest lesson. Just like showing yourself grace, showing myself grace, showing other people grace as well, because people go through stuff, and you wouldn't know. And I've learned this just by serving at the church. I could be serving with somebody, and they could like be serving their heart out to God, but they going through the most, like the most, and you have a chat with that person, and it's like, yo, wow, dude, how are you keeping it together? You know what I mean? So I think that's been like the biggest contributing factor, to sort of like just getting into that whole thing of showing people grace.
Yeah.
And because like I said, people go through stuff. And yeah, we just need to care for people. You know what I mean?
It's important, bro.
Yeah.
It's important, bro.
It's time to wrap up, guys. Any last remarks you want to say? If you want to swear at me, don't.
I don't think we're there yet,
Don't.
but look, I think you're onto something amazing right here. If we have these type of conversations continuously, from different people, it's gonna be a better place.
Yeah.
You understand? It's gonna be a better place because you understand? People are just so. It's just so much going on, but the minute you realize it's all about just relaxing, just having these conversations, then we're in a good space, my boy.
Talk. You got to talk. Yeah. Sech?
Yeah, so for me, it's the same. Like, just be aware, man. You be mindful of yourself, be mindful of others, and allow yourself to go through whatever you're going through. Be kind to yourself. I know sometimes we see these things and they just seem like,
Yeah, I know he's trying to be cool or something.
yeah, no, but like for real, like extending that courtesy of being kind to yourself, it teaches you to be the same to others. And like the whole thing of like knowing how to conduct yourself in the presence of other people, you're not gonna be aware that the person that you are actually working with, serving with, chilling with is going through the most if you're not aware. You know, and how you become aware is you become aware firstly of your own emotions, your own hardships and whatever that you face. And when you learn, and when you've cultivated that ability to like to see it within you, you'll see it in others.
100%.
So, like when you see someone at work, wherever, if you see them lash out or fight or react in a weird way, instead of saying, "Why are you being rude?" maybe calm down and just find out what's wrong. This is not, this is not you. You don't react like this. You don't act.
You don't
like
behave
this.
like
You don't behave like.
Don't be that person.
Like, just cut them off or whatever. No, just try and understand. So, I think that's how we. That's how we also encourage such conversations. To say that, you know what, we can talk about it. So let's talk.
And speak the truth. That's the last one. Like,
don't be a politician.
Go vote.
What are you voting for?
Yeah.
What are you voting for?
My vote is not my secret. My vote is not my secret. What am I voting for? Go vote, please. Please go vote. Guys, thank you so much for joining
brother,
me.
man.
I think this was amazing. Feels like it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think we got into it. Yeah.
Nah. Because I'm looking at the time. It's like it's been an hour and 12 minutes. You know, it really feels like we've been chatting for 5 minutes. But thank you for your contributions. I know for a fact that what you guys said, I said, is going to help somebody know themselves better. Because at the end of the day, that is what this platform is about. We're not experts. We're not here to.
No, we're not.
To teach you on mastery.
No.
And no.
Yeah.
Just speak our feelings.
Yeah.
But have us back again. Just
you want to come back?
Conversation, of course.
You want to come back?
It's always nice having these.
Yeah,
talks.
the mic is very addictive. Just by the way.
Yeah, it is.
The mic is very addictive, but I know for a fact that what you guys said is going to help somebody know themselves better.
Sure.
I think that is what we want to achieve with this platform at the end of the day. Thank you for watching. Remember to, like, subscribe, retweet. What is it?
The X.
We don't have Twitter anymore. What is it?
Exit. I don't know. That's what they're saying.
Exit. And we exit.
And we exit.
Reacts.
We exit. Until next time. Cheers. Bye.
Okay.